Yeah, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy, Chill B Bass Boxing Basement. Remember to hit like, because it keeps the disgusting, filthy, fat, porky haters away, such as Big John Fisher. But he must be hating me after my videos. But, that pig ain't going to last 12 months, so I don't have to worry. But this is one of the weirdest fights that, in boxing that we've had for a bit. Now, I've said many times, right? Boxing is corrupt. Boxing is degenerate. Boxing is the crack hole of the sporting world. And one of the reasons is that there's no global organization that looks after it. So you can get away with what you want. Now we've got so the fight I'm talking about is Mario Barrios, okay, who's a world champion, is fighting Manny Pacquiao, right? In July. Now, let's have a look at things. Barrios, well, he's nothing special. His record's 29 wins, 18 KOs, 2 losses, and 1 draw. That's not a bad record, right? But he's got stopped by Javon Gay Davis. Keith Thurman beat him. And his last fight was a draw against a guy called Abel Ramos, which apparently gave him the WBC World Welterweight title, whereas previously he was the interim champion. All these, I can't, if you're a normal guy, right? If you're just a normal guy watching boxing, you'd be like confused. What is this regular, interim, emeritus champions? What are these ridiculous championships, right? Now, Manny Pacquiao is one of the biggest names in boxing recently. Obviously, he's from the Far East. The Far East do not produce that many good fighters below, above like flyweight, bantamweight. But the Pac-Man, I don't know, what is he? Is he won 6 world titles? He's beaten Oscar De La Homo. He knocked out Ricky Hatton. He's beaten Marco Antonio Barrera. Real names here, man. But, he's also been stopped a few times. When he was 112 pounds, he got knocked out in the 3rd round by a guy called Rustico Torrecampo, right? So, this is a guy who started off his career at 106 pounds. What's the word for 106 pounds? Mini flyweight, strawweight, light flyweight? I don't know, but imagine that, right? Now, obviously, there's a lot of rumors that he's on the PEDs. Although, what does Otto Wallin say? Of course, he's never done PEDs. He's never failed a test. Okay, guys. Yeah, and he's gone through all the weights, winning championships. He's beat Eric Morales, Oscar Larios. He beat Morales twice, Barrera twice, I think. Juan Manuel Marquez, Oscar De La Homo, Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto, Joshua Clottey, Antonio Margarito, Shane Mosley. Come on, man. I mean, that's a super resume. That's a super resume. But how'd you go up from being a strawweight, right, and have so much success? He beat Chris Algieri, Timothy Bradley Jr. Yeah, he lost to Floyd Mayweather. But, yo, Tyson, be quiet, man. I'm doing a video. But he also lost to Jeff Horn. Yeah. Like I said, Juan Manuel Marquez flattened him. He also beat him, but he got flattened. He's also beaten Adrian Broner, Keith Thurman, Lucas Matisse. Yo, Tyson, man, keep your voice down, blood. I'm doing a video, innit, bruv? So, I mean, it's a tremendous record. No, not a lot of people come close to that kind of record. You know, how he lost to Jeff Horn, I don't know. You know, the school teacher from Australia. But his last fight was Yordenis Ugas. I remember I put money on it, on points. Ugas he's a decent fighter, but nothing special. So his last win, though, is in 2019 against Keith Thurman on a split decision. 2019, right? That it will be 6 years since when he fights Barrios. It will be 6 years since he's actually had a win, and now, allegedly, he's at number 5 in the WBC rankings. Imagine not winning a fight in 6 years. I mean, put number 5 in the rankings. It's just the normal rubbish with boxing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, Jake Paul boxing, Badu Jack. It's just a stupidity. But because of his name, right? He has been elevated to number 5, and he's going to fight Mario Barrios. Now, like I said, Barrios, he's nothing special, but, you know, he's 30 years old, El Azteca, the Aztec, whereas Manny Pacquiao is 46, I think, or 45. You know, when you, especially, you know, the lower weights, okay, they seem to age quicker. I think it's got to, why? Well, I think it's got to do with reflexes, speed, whereas, you know, the bigger guys can hold their ground and throw punches. Like Bernard Hopkins, he fought till he was 53. George Foreman won the World Heavyweight Championship at 45. So, you know, just because you're aged, right, it doesn't mean you can't fight. But the difference is Hopkins spent 10 years in prison, right? He spent 10 years in prison. And no one talks about that. No one talks about what did he do. 10 years in prison, man. You've done something serious, you wrong-un. Yeah? You've done something very serious. Apparently it was robbery, but 10 years, come on, man. And George Foreman took 10 years off between retiring and then coming back in the 80s. But Paquiao, you know, okay, I mean, he's had listen, man, how many fights has he had? 72 fights he's had. 72 fights he's had. And even though professionally he's not had a fight since 2021. He's not had a win since 2019. He's had a couple of exhibitions against a couple of, I don't know, Japanese kickboxers, or but they're just like exhibitions, man. They're move arounds. So, firstly, this is completely ridiculous that a guy who hasn't won since 2019 is now rated number 5 in the WBC, and he's fighting for the world title against a very ordinary fighter. No, at world level, a very ordinary fighter. It's nuts, man. Now, obviously, boxing is about money. It's about cash money. If Rocky Marciano was still alive, they'd probably pull him out and make him fight Deontay Wilder or Dave Allen or someone like that. If Muhammad Ali was still alive, they'd probably have him fighting David Adelaide. I mean, it's no, Richard Torres. They'd have Ali vs Torres, but it shows you the ridiculousness of boxing. And what's going to happen? Well, Barrios is nothing special. He's nothing special, He's, like I said, he's lost against Javon Gay Davis in 2021, Keith Thurman in 2022. No, there's no disgrace in that. He beat your Dennis Ugas, who beat Pac-Man, right, on points. And then he's had a draw against a guy called Abel Ramos, who's got a whack record of 28 wins, 6 losses, and 2 draws. Now, and then suddenly you're going to put the Pac-Man in, right? Having not boxed professionally for 5 years, having not won professionally for 6 years against this guy who isn't the best world champion, but legitimate world champion. The problem with the boxing is, like, I always wonder, like, how much are things fixed? Like, sometimes I've made bad choices. I've thought this is going to be fixed, and I haven't put money on it. Like Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen. I thought Allen is going to win this, but I thought he looks fat. Yeah. The Doncaster De La Hoya, he looks fat. I reckon he's been paid for, he's got a payday, and part of that payday, part of that understanding is that he won't try too hard to win. But he ironed out Johnny Fisher. He flattened him like a Chinese pancake, like a Chinese pancake, which his dad loves. So, who knows? Who knows? It's in Vegas, which is interesting. I thought maybe they'd do it in Philippines to just kind of praise Manny Pacquiao. He was like he was like a governor or something, right? He was in Parliament or something like that, right? He was a government official, right? But for some reason, he's coming back. And not only is he coming back, but his sons, who I've seen spar and look pretty whack, are also turning pro. So, what's going to happen? Come on, man. The Pac-Man, I've seen pictures of him sparring. He's still got some speed, He's still got some footwork, but, you know, there's a difference between being 46 and having speed and footwork and being younger. He hasn't got the same speed. And Pacquiao's main attribute was his speed and punching power. So as far as I'm concerned, unless there's some kind of agreement, and I'm not even sure. I even doubt myself these days, thinking, well, how many of these fights are fixed? I don't know. But to me, firstly, I reckon the fight might not happen. You know, do you remember when Nigel Benn was going to come back against Sakio Bika, and he was looking pretty good actually on the pads and on the punch bag, and then he suddenly pulled out. Why? Because he probably got flattened in sparring and realized he didn't have it anymore. You know, so we might get that situation. The Pac-Man, when he gets into serious sparring, will start to realize, I ain't got it no more. I ain't the Pac-Man no more. I'm the whack man. I'm not the Pac-Man. I'm the whack man. You know, and pull out. And why is he coming back? I mean, obviously there's the buzz of coming back, the crowds, the excitement. But, you know, you've got to grow up. His sons are about to turn pro, you know. And obviously the other reason is money. Now, Pacquiao's earned tens of millions, tens upon tens upon tens of millions. So you think you don't need no money. You don't need no money no more. But apparently he's super generous, which is a great trait. And people turn up on his door, asking him for money. Please, money. Please, money. My mother, my grandmother, the roof was broken on her house. Please, I need some, please money to help. I love you, Manny. You're my favorite fighter, or whatever, you know. But apparently he hands out cash a lot, which is generous, and it shows he's got a good character. He's a Christian, you know. But this is nuts. How much would he make from it? 10 million, probably 10 million. And that's not a bad payday, man. Yeah. That's 10 million pounds is enough to pay for Big John Fisher's Chinese food for 2 years. So, you know, you know, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money when you're as greedy as Big John Fisher. But it's just one of the weirdest fights. How they can justify a man who hasn't won a fight in 6 years to fight immediately for the world title is mystifying. Although it isn't, because if you know boxing, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. Boxing is just a bunch of cowboys, a bunch of outlaws, you know, doing whatever they want, right? As long as there's cash money in there. But the bookies have Barrios a favorite, I think, like, you know, Pacquiao's 3-1 outsider. Firstly, I'm not sure it's going to happen, to be frank with you. I think the Pac-Man might realize, yeah, I am the whack man. I'm the whack man, and I can't do it anymore. But if it does happen, well, it's a nice bit of money. But how punch drunk is this guy going to be, man? He's had over 70 fights. Yeah, his own children are turning pro. He'll be sitting there talking to palm trees, you know, about philosophy, about how to throw a left hook. And people will go, Manny, what are you doing? He goes, I'm just talking to my friend. No, they'll be like, Manny, that's not your friend, that's a palm tree. Oh, Sorry, I thought it was my friend. I thought it was Carlos. And, you know, it's tragic. It's boxing. It's a dangerous game. If he doesn't need the money, then he's nuts, and his own family should tell him he's nuts. If he doesn't need the money, well, it's a real shame, man, because you know, a guy that has given so much to boxing and earned so much money to have pissed it up the wall like this is distressing. But anyway, that's boxing anyway. Peace in the Middle East.